Hello, my name is Raine Emiliano Melo Rodriguez, and today we'll talk about Guillermo del Toro. Personal information. Full name: Guillermo del Toro Gómez. Hometown: Guadalajara, Jalisco. Country: Mexico. Nationality: Mexican. Guillermo del Toro is a Mexican filmmaker, author, and producer known for his imaginative and visually rich storytelling that often blends fantasy, horror, and fairy tale elements. Guillermo del Toro was born and raised in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. He developed a passion for filmmaking at a young age, inspired by horror movies, monster films, and literature. As a teenager, he started experimenting with makeup and special effects, even creating his own short film using 8 cameras. He studied filmmaking at the University of Guadalajara and later co-founded a special effects company called Necropia, as well as the Guadalajara International Film Festival. Personal life. He lived in Mexico for many years before recollecting to the United States in 1998 after his father was kidnapped, and held for ransom. Del Toro moved his family out of Mexico for a state. Despite he remains deeply connected to the Mexican roots and often draws on Latin America history and folklore in his work.
Hi teacher, good afternoon. My name is Jose Emilio Medrano Agueda and I'm going to present the career of Guillermo del Toro. Toro, the master of fantasy cinema, began his career in Mexico with films like Kronos, blending horror and fantasy with a unique aesthetic. In Hollywood, he surprised audiences with Mimic and later solidified his style with The Devil's Backbone, a gothic drama set during the Spanish Civil War. His masterpiece, Pan's Labyrinth, catapulted him to a global fame, merging history and dark fairy tales. Later, he directed blockbusters like Hellboy and Pacific Rim, showcasing his versatility. In 2018, The Shape of Water earned him the Oscar for Best Picture and Director, crowning decades of unparalleled visual storytelling. Del Toro didn't just make movies, he created worlds. His legacy: stories where the monster reveals your humanity.
Hello, my name is Mauricio Mercado. I am going to talk about some films by Mexican filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, who is well known for his films. He was born in Guadalajara, Mexico in 1964. From a joke, I love monster and horror stories. He studied filmmaking and special effects, and later became a director. One of his most famous movies is Pan's Labyrinth, which won 3 Academy Awards. In this film, he created a magical and terrifying world set during the Spanish Civil War. And another great film is The Shape of Water, which won Best Picture and Best Director on the Oscar 2018. Del Toro also working on movies like Hellboy and Crimson Peak, where he showed his love for gothic style and creatures. Guillermo del Toro inspired many with his imagination and passion for storytelling. He proved that fantasy can be powerful, emotional, and deeply human. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jaime Alberto Pulido Loya, and my group is 21M1.
Guillermo del Toro stands out for behind a Mexican film director, screenwriter, and producer recognized for his ability to create horror and fantasy films with emotional and thematic complexity. His films are usually visually spectacular and exploit fantasy and magic, often combining fairy tale elements with dark and raw touches. In summary, Guillermo del Toro stands out for create horror and fantasy movies with emotional and thematic complexity. His ability to design characters and monsters.